is going on, guys? It's the Mitzi here, and today I'm doing the official Queen's Corgi tier list. That's right, guys. We got every single character. I think every single character. I made sure that I looked at all of them. So these are every character from the Queen's Corgi. Now, it took me quite a while to make this. I had to gather a lot of images, had to make sure they were all, the same size. But it's finally done, and we can finally get into the tier list. So, we're just going to start through the row just like this. They're not in any specific order, so it doesn't matter where any character is placed. And we're starting off with Donald J. Trump. This one's quite obvious. This one is an S tier. He has so much character development, such a great character arc. There's so much depth to his character that obviously he's going in the S tier, which is just the greatest honor. He's so well animated. There's so much personality to him. Every time he was in a frame, tears formed in my eyes because that's how beautiful it was. So this one is quite obvious. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with me on that. But our next character is Rex, and come on, Rex, aka Fluff Boy, he is going in the S tier too. He's the main character, he's the Queen's Corgi, he's the top dog. Where else would he be placed, right? He has so much growth throughout the story, he just has so much everything. Like, literally, he has everything. And his character development is just so great. He's so cute as well. Like, every frame he was in, I couldn't even tell if it was animated or not. Because they put so much detail into him. So, obviously, he's going S tier. And now, we have Charlie. This one's quite interesting because Charlie is the main antagonist of the film. He's the villain, he's the bad guy. And it's hard debate between S and A because for the character that he is, he's just so good. But I'm going to give him an A. Now, some of you might disagree with me on this, but the reason I'm not putting him up here with these two legends is because I feel like there's still a lot more that we need to know about his character. Maybe we could have a prequel, like, where Charlie is trying to get top dog, and then, like, at the very end, Rex shows up, and it just directly ties into that opening scene in the Queen's Corgi. So I really hope we can have something like that. Maybe in the sequel, they, develop his character a bit more. He has more growth, and he maybe becomes a good guy, right? So just for now, based on the Queen's Corgi alone, I'm gonna have to give him an A, not an S. I'm sorry. He doesn't. This is just my personal opinion. If you disagree, then you can do it yourself. But next we're moving on to Phillips right here, and this one is quite hard, but I feel like he just has to be a B. He's kind of in the background. He doesn't really affect the story that much. I mean, actually, in theory, this entire thing happened because of him. The entire story happened because of him. Because, he kicked Rex, and come on. Anyone who kicks a dog is automatically, like, you can't become an S or an A. But the reason he's a B and not anything lower is he does have some character growth throughout the story. At the very end, there's a sweet little moment between him and the Queen. It's really nice, and I hope we see more of his character in the sequel. Next up, we have this gentleman right here. Not quite sure what he's doing or, like, who he is at all. So we're just gonna put him in the D. He's just there. He doesn't do anything. He's just kind of there. Same with this character, but I'm actually gonna put her in the C because she says, "I beg your pardon." And anyone who says, "I beg your pardon," is automatically disqualified from being anything lower than a C. So they have to be in the C or higher, right? So next up we have Big Chungus himself, Chungus the Mungus. He is obviously in the S tier as well. Where else would he be? He's such a likable character. He's so full of life. He's so full of energy. He's so nice. As you can see, he's doing his little finger pointing move there. He's just a great, well-rounded character. Anyway, next up we have the Chief. We're gonna have to give him, I think I'm gonna have to give him a B, because, yeah, he is an important character, but I feel like they could have developed him, sorry about that, developed him a little bit more, given him some more screen time. He punches Tyson, which was a great moment. I hope the audience cheered when that happened. I couldn't watch it in theaters, unfortunately. I don't even know if it was playing in my theaters. Might actually be playing right now. But again, I hope that in the sequel we sort of develop him more. He sort of starts talking a bit more, opening up more than he already did. Because he did have some character growth, but I feel like they could have done more, if you know what I mean. So he's in a B, which is still a good rank. Don't treat this like, oh, S is like, every time it goes lower, this is like bad. No, a B is good, and S is like Omega, right? So an A is practically perfect as well. So B is basically like an 80 to 90%, right? Next up we have, I'm not quite sure what his name is. I just like to call him Ethan Humphreys. Don't ask why. We're gonna have to give him, hmm, it's either an A or a B. I'm not quite sure. Actually, we're just gonna hold off on him for now. Next up, we have Drug Addicted Chase. Now, Drug Addicted Chase is a pretty cool dude, but I feel like there could have been more. There could have been more character development, more screen time, more everything. Because he's kind of just there. He doesn't do much, and I really, really wish that they could have done a little bit more. But then again, he's still a good character. He still does, develop a little bit, not as much as like Chief or Rex or anything, right? But he was still there, and he was still a pretty good character. Next, we have Beanard, and I think Beanard is in the same sort of place as Chief, right? He's kind of like he's there. He does a little bit of things, but not that much. He is the one who developed the plan to get back into the palace. He's the one who said, "Hey guys, let's do a little." Like Christmas Carol at the front gate so that Wanda and Rex can sneak in. So he definitely played a role in the story, and it wouldn't be the same without him. So that's why he's a B, and not anything lower or not anything higher. Next up we have the Tall Man. Now the Tall Man is an interesting character. He's present, but he doesn't say anything, right? So I think he's kind of in the same light as like this character or these characters. Because yeah, he is there, but he doesn't really do that much. I wish he could have done more. He's kind of just there to open doors, to make things look nice, and I feel like they should have delved into his character a bit more. So there's not really much to say besides the fact that he's a C. Next we have the First Lady. Quite an interesting character, and it's hard to tell where to place her. I'm gonna put her with Ethan Humphreys because I'm not quite sure. We'll figure that out later. Alright, next we have the other big Chungus, as you can see, very similar design to him. So obviously, she's going in the S tier because anytime a big Chungus appears in a movie, it's automatically an S tier. That is a rule. And you might be saying, wait, aren't these two technically big Chunguses? You might be right, but you're wrong. So we're just gonna say she's an S tier, no further explanation needed. Next we have Midget Big Chungus. Now this is an interesting character, because he is kind of Big Chungus, but not there. So he's more like a mini Chungus. So he's gonna be in an A tier alongside of Charlie right there. I think he does a little bit more than the other two butlers. I think he has a bit more character, a bit more screen time. So I think it is well justified that even though he's still not fully a big Chungus, he's still high up. Does that make sense? So I hope you guys don't agree. Again, I'll have a link to this tier list in the description if you want to do it for yourself. Next we have the Chihuahua. Quite an interesting character, but I feel like there could have been more, right? He's kind of like Tyson's minion in a way, so he doesn't really actually develop in the story, which I was quite disappointed by. So actually, I'm gonna give him a D. I know it might seem harsh, but I just really wish we could have seen him transition from being Tyson's little pet to maybe he could have went to the palace with the other dogs. Uh, Again, you could disagree all you want, but that's my reasoning for putting him down here in a D, which then again is still not the worst ranking ever. Don't get me wrong. Everything from S to D, that's still okay, that's still passable, that's still like a pass on a test, if that makes sense. Anything lower though, that's a fail. Next we have Boxer, who's, I'm gonna say he's in the same tier as Chihuahua guy right here, because he doesn't really change throughout the story. He's kind of Tyson's pet as well, and I really wish they just could have done more with him, right? Next we have Lamp Poodle, right? Lamp Poodle's an interesting character because they don't say anything, and they're kind of, it's just kind of there to be a light, right? So again, another D. I just wish they had more screen time no, just more running time for this entire movie, so we could have fully explored each and every character. And next we have the mother of this daughter who wanted Rex as their pet. Obviously an F tier. How could anyone try and take Rex as their own, even when they know he's the Queen's Corgi? Because I'm pretty sure when they first enter the town, right? The girl goes, "Hey, look, it's the Corgi." So clearly they recognize the Corgi. So they must have realized that Rex was the Queen's Corgi, but they tried to take him as their own. So again, she's gonna go with there too. They're both F because they tried to take Rex away, and if they managed to succeed, chances are Rex would have never made it back to the palace. Think about that. And also Wanda would have been stuck with Tyson, and all of the other dogs would be stuck in the pound. Everything would go wrong. These characters nearly ruined everything. Next we have these two guys, which I'm going to put them both in here, because again, they both are like this guy. They're just kind of there. They don't really say anything. They don't have much character, but they're definitely important to the plot because just look at them. Each of them are uniquely designed, and that's what I love. Even characters that don't do anything are still unique. They're original, and maybe we'll get some, like, spin-offs about them, their adventures. These four's adventures, maybe Donald Trump will be in it, maybe not. I'm not quite sure, but I do hope we see more of them. Next we have Side Poodle, that's what I call it, because it's kind of just a poodle on the side, very similar to Light Poodle, but actually, no, I'm gonna move Light Poodle up just one, because it's a unique character, it's a light poodle. Come on, what other poodle acts as a light? But this poodle isn't a light poodle, it's just a poodle that poodles around, so it doesn't really do much, it's just kind of there. Next we have Rebel, who I'm kind of actually very disappointed by, so he's going in an E. And the reason is, we see him fighting Tyson. No, not Tyson. He fights Boxer, but he fails, and he gets beaten. And we never really see any more of him. So I really wish they could have developed his character a bit more, because he definitely had an arc that was forming. But then again, maybe they're planning like an MCU type of universe, so they'll have like Iron Man, right? His whole arc was kind of the whole thing, and it came full circle in the very end. It was beautiful, it was wonderful. So maybe that's what they're doing with his character. Maybe in the sequel he'll kind of sacrifice himself in some way. I'm not quite sure though. Next we have, that was a voice crack. Next we have the Royal Guards, and I'm gonna have to put them up here with the light poodle and this butler guy. And the reason is, again, they're kind of there, but they don't really do anything, they don't really say much, and they don't really develop as a character. They just stay as the Royal Guard the whole time. They don't really have a personality besides the fact that they're guarding the Queen, and that's really all there is to say about them. Next we have these two, and again, these two didn't try to take Rex, they kind of just appeared, so they're gonna go right there. Because they were just there, they didn't really do anything, and they kind of ignored Jack, who really wanted to be adopted, but they didn't take him, which was very disappointed, and we never even got to saw some sort of redemption for them. They just completely gone right after the scene they appear. Next we have Margaret the Corgi. Again, this one, it's kind of debated between an A and a B, but I'm actually going to give her an A because, no wait, it's hard to, actually, it's really hard to tell because she's sort of in a similar, she does have some character development throughout the movie, but I really wish they could have went into her a bit more. Maybe she apologized to Rex in the movie, but she didn't. They just kind of, I really actually was kind of let down by the ending. Okay, there's like the one thing I criticized. It kind of ended just like out of nowhere. We didn't see the characters kind of interact with each other at the very end, which was I was really hoping for. So maybe they're just saving it for the sequel, but until then, she's gonna be in a B. Next we have Wanda, and this one's obvious. Wanda's an S tier. Where else would she be? Come on. Do I really even need to explain why? I'm gonna explain why anyway. She is just she's Wanda, the Wanderer, right? The Wondrous Wanda, whatever Tyson describes her as, who's actually our next character. Quite interesting. So Wanda is just a great character because at first, I think people don't understand Wanda's character. Everyone says she's a gold digger, but that's not what happened in the story. You see, what happened is she didn't she didn't want to, be acquainted with Rex. Not only because she was already with Tyson, so if she did, like, admit she had feelings for Rex, then Tyson would just like go boom, 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 right? He would just beat him down to a pulp. A pulp? What did I just say? Okay, anyway, he would just beat Rex, so she's kind of saving Rex in a way. But after she finds out that Rex is the Queen's Corgi, she realizes that not only is Rex not lying, he's not a liar, and he's actually like his heart is in the right place. He's just a little off course until like the very end when he, his character comes full circle. Oh, what was I saying? So yeah, she isn't a gold digger because again, the reason she enjoys Rex is because he's not a liar, and the fact that he's the Queen's Corgi means that not only is he he has a better owner than where because she doesn't have an owner, right? That means she can go back to the palace with Rex and they can live a good life and get away from Tyson. That's why she likes Rex, not just because he's the Queen's Corgi, but because he's also a good dog. Now we have Tyson, and this is quite an interesting one. Someone might expect him to be low, but this isn't based on if they're a good dog, if they're good or bad. This is based on their actual character. And actually, I think I'm gonna have to put Tyson in C, and the reason for this being is he doesn't get any character development. He stays as the bad dog the whole time. We never see any redemption for him. So I wish maybe in the sequel they'll explore his character more. Maybe they'll have a prequel that explains why he is the way he is, along with Charlie. Maybe they can team up and then like oh, there's so many possibilities because there's just so many great characters, great moments. So I'm not quite sure what they'll do, but until then, he's gonna be in the C. Next we have Mitzi, and Mitzi's gotta be an A tier. Even though she sort of stays the same character, there's so much backstory that most people gloss over. So many subtle lines that just hint towards why she is the way she is. And if you watched my frame-by-frame analysis, you will understand why she's in that A tier. Because it's too hard to explain. It's not hard to explain, but it's so much it'll take too long to explain if you know what I mean. So next we have Nelson, who's gonna be in the same tier as Margaret, if that is her name. Don't I might mix it up if not a name. It's not my fault. And the reason he's there is again, he is kind of like her. He starts out by not really enjoying Rex, think he's too cocky, but in the end, they kind of, help him out, but they don't really have any interactions further than that. So until the sequel, he's just gonna be in the B. Next we have the Queen, obviously going up there in the S tier with Donald Trump, Big Chungus, Rex, and Wanda, because it's the Queen. Come on, I'm not gonna even explain it. It's the Queen. Next we have this man right here. Again, he is going in the F tier. Absolutely hate this character. Not because he looks like this or acts. It's just because, again, he ignored Jack. He just didn't adopt him even when Jack wanted to. It was just so disappointing that we never got to see a redeeming moment. There's not much to his character. He's only there for a scene, but he's not like these two, um, which didn't really, they were just kind of there. This character, he just acted like a jerk. So I don't even think Jack, sorry, would want to be adopted by him. And that's just ties in perfectly to Jack. Obviously in the S tier, such a great character. There's so much character development in him. He starts out being a little bit mean towards Rex, but then he kind of opens up to him, and in the end, he comes to help Rex in his time of need. Great character, he has a great story, and he has way more development than these two, which I really hope we have them back for the sequel where they can develop the characters a bit more. So now going back to Ethan Humphries, I'm going to put Ethan Humphries in the A tier. He's not as good as Big Chungus. He's kind of a brain dead in a way. He slips on ice. He doesn't really realize that Rex is the Queen's Corgi. So I hope that if they have him back in the sequel, we can see more character development from him. And next we have the First Lady, who's also going in the A tier. Now, she's going in the A tier just because she's kind of like this guy right here, or Phillips. She doesn't really have that much character development. She doesn't really do much, but she is a important character who does do some quite, unique things that other characters don't do. She wears pink, the same pink as Mitzi, and since she's holding Mitzi, she's obviously going to be in the same tier as Mitzi. So guys, that is it for the Queen's Corgi character tier list. Let me know if you agree, disagree, what you might change, but this is my own personalized version. If you want to do their own, again, there will be a link down in the description. But that's it, guys, and I hope you enjoyed.